Tonight's show and topic of discussion do not necessarily reflect the opinion of Spaced Out Radio, SOR Media, or its hosts. Listener discretion is advised. Here at Spaced Out Radio, we are about to take you higher. Broadcasting from the Rocky Mountains of Colorado to you listening around the world. Welcome to Spaced Out Saturdays on Spaced Out Radio. You can follow Tessa on our Facebook page at Spaced Out Radio, on Twitter at TessaTNT, and you can subscribe to her YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio for our archives. Now broadcasting from our Mile High Radio Clubhouse on Spaced Out Saturdays with your host, Tessa Nicole Thomas.
Good evening, space travelers. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a Rocky Mountain high. Get sucked into the mile marker 419 in colorful Colorado. It is Saturday, June 29th, Sunday, June 30th for those of you on the East Coast and beyond, and this is Spaced Out Radio. I hope you had a rockin' week, an awesome day, and an even better evening. I am your host, TessaTNT, and we are live tonight broadcasting from beautiful Bayfield, Colorado. We are 150,000 strong nightly on Spaced Out Radio Network, spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, 99.1 FM WQEE, Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead, 107.7 UPRN in New Orleans, Louisiana, 93.7 FM KZFX TuneIn Radio, 1030 AM KDune Radio, as well as Revolution Radio, which you can find at revolutionradio.com. Don't forget to head to our website, spacedoutradio.com, where you can peruse the Spaced Out Radio store and read the Encounter online, dealing with everything strange, paranormal, and odd. So tonight I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there. Tonight we will be talking to and getting to know Chris Chappell from the Dark Hunters Paranormal LLC. Chris has been into paranormal and believed ever since he was 13 years old. He's the owner with his wife Melissa of Dark Hunters Paranormal Group, where they take guests on historic landmarks across the U.S. for an exclusive overnight investigation. They specialize in getting into places that have not been overrun with paranormal groups for the mystique of it. Chris is a huge tattoo enthusiast as well and is always trying to learn more about the outer world. Hey Chris, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on tonight.
Hey, it's an honor. Thanks for having me.
So I'm so glad you could come on and tell us a little bit more about your group and your experiences. And I actually had a person earlier today, and it made me smile when I read again about being a tattoo fan. He wanted to know, what's up with the Little Mermaid tattoo on your arm there?
Yes, that's a great question to start off with. Okay, so the Little Mermaid tattoo is a homage to my wife, who that's her favorite Disney movie, and she loves the Little Mermaid. And we tend to, we've always said that we'd get tattoos, for each other. We always thought that it'd be bad luck to get each other's name on each other, so we decided, we'd go with something symbolic. So the Little Mermaid, she had told me, matter of fact, she's been talking about me getting a Little Mermaid on me for a long time. And I'd always joke with her. I was like, there's no way. I am a grown man. I am not going to get Little Mermaid on me. And so finally I was looking through some pics and stuff, and we came up with, a little more manly part. So she actually got Animal because I'm a drummer. And she calls me the Hulk because when I get upset at people while I drive, I turn into the Hulk. So she actually got animal playing the drums with a Hulk coming through the bass drum on her, and then I got Little Mermaid, but I zombified her. So if you really look closely, she's got tattered, fins, and she's kind of ate up, and she's got, she's basically turned into a zombie. So it's really cool. I've actually got quite a bit of compliments, and then also I've actually got a couple dudes that are like, dude, I have never seen another man with a mermaid so big on his body. You have got a set. And I was just like, hey man, I was like, it's for the wife. I don't get tattoos to please other people. So, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of the story behind that. It's kind of an homage to my wife. So.
Well, that's awesome. And that's what I said. I'm like, it looks like a zombie Little Mermaid. And he just went on, like, just looking at all the detail in it. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so, Chris John. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, Chris Johnson is here in Knoxville. He's our tattoo artist, and I'll tell you what, he does an amazing job at Inkline. There's a little plug for you, buddy. But no, he's an amazing artist, and I mean, he really, really pays attention to detail and makes sure that it's perfect before we leave there. And he's very cost effective as well too. So if you're ever in the Knoxville area, check them out. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I still have yet to get a tattoo, so when I go back there, perhaps I'll check them out.
Oh yeah, we'll even take you up there for sure. We'll all get one together. It's kind of a thing. Even if we take somebody to get into a tattoo, we'll just like, oh, we'll get one too with you. We'll just go do it.
Might as well, right?
Yeah.
So, I always like to ask my guests, when was your first paranormal experience, and can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So my first paranormal experience is actually kind of a somber one, and a little morbid as well. But I mean, it's kind of what got me into believing. So when I was a kid, I lived in Florida with my parents, my stepmom, and my father, and there was 5 of us living in the house as far as kids go. I was the second oldest. So at 13 years old, we were living down there. My dad was working with my step grandfather at a woodworking plant that my step grandfather owned. And, so he would work there throughout the week, and then he'd have off on the weekends. Well, it was a Friday night. I remember it very clearly. And you'll know why as I tell the story. But, so I wake up in the middle of the night to see it looked legitimately like you see apparitions on TV, on these TV shows and stuff. And I'm talking a full body. My step grandpa was standing right there in front of me, and he walked up to me. Now it wasn't him. It was actually a spirit. As he walked up to me, he said, goodbye. He says, I have to go. And that's all he said. And he disappeared. And it freaked me out. I got up, I woke my dad up. This is like really early in the morning. He said, you're just having a dream. Go back to sleep. I says, okay, no problem. Well, next day, Saturday, my dad's not going to work, and, nobody had heard from my step grandpa. He usually came over for, food and stuff like that. And, so I told my dad, I was like, we really should check on him. I just, it didn't feel right or whatever. Well, come to find out, that night, Friday night, because Tung was another guy that worked there. He was an Asian man that worked at the woodworking place. He had went there Saturday, and I didn't know why my stepmom was so sad and everything. And come to find out, he had died. My step grandfather died at the woodworking shop. Well, it wasn't until later on when I got older that I found out that he actually committed suicide. He hung himself there, and Tung found him hanging. But my parents didn't tell me that because I was young, and they didn't want me to like freak out or anything. And, obviously they thought it was really weird that the night before I told them that, he told me goodbye, and it was just really weird. And, after doing the autopsy, they said that it had happened the night before. And, so ever since then is legitimately when, I felt like, I knew that there's something, paranormal. And I call it paranormal because, a lot of people say, oh, you chase ghosts, or you chase spirits, or, or I'll get like people that are really strong into religion. They'll be like, oh, you're a devil worshiper and stuff like that. Look, I mean, the definition of paranormal is something that you can't explain. and that's just it. If I'm sitting here and a Rubbermaid, bowl gets swept across the room and there's no explanation for it, that's paranormal because I can't explain it. I don't know. To me, that's paranormal. And that's what fascinates me about it. When something happens that I can't explain, I want an answer. I want to know why it happens. And so, yeah, I mean, ever since then, is basically, that was probably my first one to give you, I guess, a longevity answer of it.
Well, it's so awesome that he was able to come to you and tell you goodbye, and you didn't have that, wishing that you had that last time to say goodbye to him. And I'm sure being younger, did you freeze up when it happened, or did you say anything to him?
I froze up because I knew that it wasn't his body. And being that young, you don't like, it's not that you don't accept it because you just keep thinking, okay, it was a dream. It was a dream, but I remember being wide awake and seeing it, and I had even asked, my little brother who at the time stayed in the same room with me. We shared a room, and, he was out. He said he didn't see anything, didn't hear anything. And, so yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I was blessed in that aspect, is the fact that, he says goodbye to me and stuff like that. So.
And what are some of the other experiences that you have had in life that led up to you creating your own group?
Well, I mean, I guess since then, I mean, I've just kind of been sort of susceptible. I'm in no way, saying that I'm like an empath or psychic medium, but I've just been susceptible. I've kind of let myself believe, a little bit more since I've seen it. So, I guess being open-minded about it. And, just being open-minded about it is basically kind of what keeps me going with it. And I've had experiences through different houses that we moved into, growing up, just seeing things, hearing things. And I've always been kind of fascinated by just really creepy looking buildings, and so that kind of, got me into this. And then, of course, me and my wife, who I met in high school, we met back up about, let's see, 9-10 years after we graduated high school, to a great thing called Facebook. And that's how we met back up. So.
That's awesome. And I wish she was here with us tonight so we could learn about her and her paranormal experiences. So how did you guys come to create Dark Hunters Paranormal?
We actually created Dark Hunters. Dark Hunters was a name that my brother-in-law and myself and my wife came up with. We all just kind of spitballed, names around. And we just kind of, a lot of people think that when they hear Dark Hunters Paranormal, they think, oh, they're searching for, evil spirits and stuff like that because it's dark. And honestly, the reason we came up with that name is it's just that. Our investigations, 98% of the time, are in the dark. It's overnight. So it's as simple as that. And I know that, there's not a whole awesome story behind the name, but that's really what it is. So. And I want to explain that to people too, because, I'm very strong in faith because, I do tell everybody when we go on investigations, whether you're religious or not, no big deal, but we do pray before and we do pray after, and when we take care of people, because we do believe it works as far as, washing away the evil that may lurk in a building. So essentially how we came up with that and how we decided to start our own is, we were approached by a gentleman that owned his own company and asked us if we wanted to help him out. And we said, yeah, we were fascinated about it because we just pretty much did our own thing, help people out in their houses, and just kind of went, with the Tennessee Wraith Chasers. We went on their investigations and stuff, paid money to do their stuff. And we just kind of did our own thing, And he asked if we wanted to join this group, and we said absolutely. We'd be more than happy to. Well, things started happening, things that weren't very trustworthy. People were getting let go out of nowhere for no reason. We were being lied to about the things that were happening. A lot of dishonest stuff that was going on. And I just, we wanted to join because it was fun, because we were intrigued. We're always intrigued by, paranormal, and that's why we wanted to do it. We wanted to go on ghost hunts. We wanted to interact with people. We wanted to show people how we use our equipment, and it was just not that at all. And and so we decided, to just part ways and kind of do our own thing, because, we want to be known as the group and the couple that treat everybody that comes into our, to any of our events, or even communicates with us on Facebook. We're like a family. My photographer, my event manager, they live up in Michigan. I've got 2 investigators that are a couple, Shayla and Patty. They live in Indiana. They're volunteers of ours. And then Cindy Johnston, who lives down in Alabama, who helps us as well. She's our lead investigator. She does a lot of stuff for us as well. And all of them were brought on for the simple fact that, they're trustworthy, they're good people, they're honest, they like working with people, they can talk to people, and they treat people like they want to be treated. That's really what we kind of stand for.
Yeah, and it's the same as when you go on an investigation. You got to have that respect for people as well as the spirits, that you are going in there to investigate. Do you guys ever antagonize or provoke ghosts, or do you use the more laid-back manner?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't never have to do that. And I knew I just used 2 negatives in a sentence. So that was great grammar, Chris.
Oh, no worries.
No. So we don't usually have to do that, because essentially, a lot of our guests, most of our guests are first timers. We do have those that, have been on other investigations with other companies, but, we really want to cater to those people that have never done it, that are skeptics, and in that aspect, when we take those people, that's the last thing that we want to do. Is we want to, we don't want anybody getting hurt, because anybody that's been in this business, or that's even has been on an investigation, and does it for a living, or just does it, knows that, if you mess with the wrong stuff, it could be very dangerous. And if a person doesn't know what they're doing and they get attached to it, and something attaches to them and they don't know how to get rid of it, it could be very dangerous. That person can make some really bad decisions, and really, I've seen it happen. So we don't mess with that when we do an event. Now, I will say this, because I do have people with me that are experienced in demonology and stuff like that. So when we do a team investigation with just us, you see what I'm saying? There may be a time where, that needs to happen, because somebody's getting hurt. Someone doesn't, they're telling us that these things are happening in their home. These things are happening at one of their buildings, and they want it gone. And if we go there and we can't get anything, and I'm not getting any interaction, the last thing I want to do is leave a place and make it seem like that person feels like they were crazy for telling me something was bad there. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
So we will go there, and, if we're not getting anything, then yes, absolutely. I want to antagonize it. I want to piss it off. So, we can find a way to get rid of it, because if you can't summon it, I'm not really going to summon is a bad, I can't say summon, but if you can't bring it to light and it's just staying, it's not going to, you're not going to get rid of it. And that's just my experience. Other people have different ones, but I will say, when we do an event, we're very careful on that type of stuff, because we do take care of our guests and we want them to have a good time. So, you're going to get your money's worth whenever you pay for a ticket. I promise you that. But we want to make sure that your money's worth is all a good time as well. We don't want anybody getting hurt. We don't want anybody going home and bringing anything with them. And that's the most important.
So you said before you start an investigation, you say a prayer for protection and whatnot, and you do that with your group as well. Has anybody ever been or said, "Hey, I don't believe in prayer," and kind of bow out of that, or do you require that in order to provide some sort of safety for them in that environment?
No, absolutely not. We live in a country where you have the freedom to do whatever you want. I'm not above the law. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So if you don't want to do it, that's completely up to you. We offer that though. That's all I'm saying. We offer that. And if you would like to join, you're more than welcome to. If you don't, that's fine as well. So
yes.
We do suggest. But we do suggest. It's not like, we don't tell them they have to, but we do suggest that this might be a good idea. Whether you believe it or not, you might want to lay hands on somebody that is praying and just feel the positive energy from it. Because I will say, in my experience, it does help. Because I'll say this: I've done an investigation, and we can talk about that if you want. But I've done an investigation where I was just something was telling me. When I got there, I just felt negativity, and I didn't pray, and I got some really bad stuff that happened to me at that place, and it was bad. So, and I've never ever had something like that happen to me. So, I think after having that experience, I just just for my safety, I do it. So, just so I'm protected. But yeah, it's to each their own. If they don't want to, it's freedom of, just like I tell people that call me and my wife, satanic worshipers, because what we do, we're searching out the devil and spirits, and that's not part of the Bible. Well, that's completely moronic to say. It really is. But on the same token, it's their right to say that. But don't call us names. Like, don't assume that's what we are if you don't know. If you've never been on an investigation. If you've never been on a paranormal investigation, don't jump to the conclusion that that's what we are unless you're going to do it.
Yeah, and I definitely want to hear your story about that. But on what you said, I'm sure you guys are considered kind of in that Bible Belt of the United States. And I have an aunt who I thought would be into it because my mom was really spiritual when she was still on Earth. But my aunt was like, "What makes you think God's going to protect you when you're doing things with demons and such?" And, it even says in the Bible that Jesus said, "It is me, Jesus, I am not a ghost. It is me." Like, really? It is in there. He didn't say, "It is me, I'm not a demon." He said ghost, and ghosts do actually exist. They're not demons, I don't think. I'm sure there's, stuff like that out there and dark entities and such, but there are ghosts, and so they need to kind of wrap their mind around that.
Well, here's my thought on it, and I agree with you 100%. But let's take it a step further. And this is what I always tell someone that calls what we do, not what the Bible would accept as being accepting. Okay, so every Christian I've ever met, okay, and I've been to church, Pentecostal church, Nazarene. I've been to all of them. I've went to every one of them, and I've read the Bible back and forth several times. So I try to get somebody that is very religious that tells me what we do is bad, and I sit them down and I say, okay, so when you go to church and somebody gets hit with the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit, how in the hell is that any different than what we're doing? It's not. If you call that a spirit, if you call somebody jumping up and being hit with the Holy Spirit, that is exactly what we do. Except for it's not as an organized religion. We just go out and we're curious about it. You see? And a lot of times what people don't get is that and I think your team is probably the exact same way, Tessa, is we do it for the historical value of it. We're very intrigued by, there's a lot of murders that happen that go unsolved, and at these places, and we want answers. Some people think that's funny. Some people think we're never going to get answers. They don't believe in it. That's fine. But I'm telling you right now, I have been on investigations that have gotten legitimate stuff that it's just not coincidence. I mean, it's just not. So that's where I kind of tell somebody that they're kind of being a hypocrite if they think that what we're doing is bad because, the Bible says they're spirits.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think, people like you and I are put here for a reason to help those here that don't understand what's going on in their house or their place of business, as well as the spirits that are stuck here. And there's so many different scenarios when it comes to that, but we definitely all have the certain gifts that were given to us for a reason. And to me, it's worse not to use it than to just let it sit there idle and not be helping people. So kudos to you guys for doing that.
Absolutely. And that's really, I kind of want to step back a little bit. That's what Dark Hunters is about too. Our number one priority, of course, is our fans and our customers. We want to make sure they have a good time. But right next to it, I mean, right there at number 1, too, is, these places we go to, they're historical, landmarks, and sometimes, just having an event there, that's really the only money that these places get, besides, the place that we're doing over Labor Day, they have a haunted house there in October, right? For the whole month of October. And that's it. That's the money they get that they put back into the building. And I don't know about you, but a 3-story, 60,000 square foot building needs a lot more, money coming in. So, that's why we do what we do is, we put money back into those buildings so they can stay afloat. There's nothing worse to a paranormal investigator or someone that's a historian than watching an abandoned building just a beautiful abandoned building get knocked to the ground. It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, there's just so much potential there. And, maybe these people need to realize people want to come and see this stuff all year round, not just during Halloween. So perhaps they should open it up for investigations year round, or just kind of, keep everything set up and keep running with it.
Which is exactly why we're doing it on August 31st and September 1st. We're going to do investigations. We're going to do day investigations for people that don't really want to do it in the dark. I mean, it's going to be huge. We're hoping that we have a really big turnout, and other paranormal companies can find out about this place and book with them. That's the goal, so that these places can have other, get known for that's what it's for, so that we can get answers and that, and we can keep the building up and afloat.
That's awesome. And preserving these sites as well. And a lot of times it takes a lot of interest like that for a city or state to actually preserve it and keep it from getting knocked down. So that's awesome.
100%.
So you were talking earlier about an episode where you did have a dark attachment and you didn't go in with the protection you generally do. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure, absolutely. There isn't a whole lot I remember. So what I'm telling you is basically what like my wife told me and the other investigators told me what happened. And I'll just try to remember as much as I can. But I do remember that just going into, and the place I'm talking about is St. Albans Sanatorium in, Radford, Virginia. And, when I walked into that place, 6:00 PM, I just felt, just negative. I didn't want to be there. And I've never went on an investigation that I didn't want to be at, I just felt angry. I felt anxiety, but I kept it going. I set up all my podcast stuff that I do after every investigation. And so we took these, these folks on the investigation. Actually, we took them on a tour beforehand. Well, I like to make people laugh. So, I'll do like funny stuff and I'll say funny things, make people laugh, kind of, take the edge off a little bit. And I was doing that. And I'm thinking that when I did that on tour where we just kind of showed everybody where all the rooms were, kind of watch where you step and stuff. I think when I did that, I pissed off whatever had already been kind of almost attached to me, because I was joking and stuff like that, and people were laughing. So when I went down into the boiler room where the bowling alley is, just something kept drawing me toward the end of the bowling alley. And I just, from what they told me, I just stood down there. My brother-in-law had his camera on me. He said I stood still. I wouldn't look at nobody. And he said I just looked weird. And he told one of the other investigators to come get me, that I wasn't acting right. And, I was just standing there. And he's like, dude, I've known him for a long time. I've never seen him like that. So 2 investigators came down, grabbed me. And when they grabbed me, they started walking me up the bowling alley. And I guess I turned my head and looked at one of the investigators, and he said he could see that I had, like, I wanted to kill him. Like, that's how he felt. He said he could feel that power of me looking at him, like, how dare you just touched me, and how dare you're telling me to do this. And when we started getting closer to the steps, I pushed off from him, and I wanted to walk back towards the boiler room. Something was pushing me towards to go there. I just felt very angry. Well, they got me upstairs to where the nurse was. They had an on-call nurse there, and she sat me down. And my wife Melissa was crying. She was scared. She didn't know what was going on. She ain't never seen me like that. She's known me almost my whole life, and so of course she was scared. So she comes in the room with one of the other investigators, and I guess the lady had asked me, she goes, how do you feel right now? Are you feeling okay? Is there anything we can do for you? And I told her that I wanted to come across there and rip her throat out and kill her with my bare hands. That's exactly what I said to her. And
wow.
Yeah, and so they took me outside. They prayed on me and everything, and I needed to take a break and just breathe and stuff. And yeah, it was insane. And I've never, ever been like that. Never once. And that's why I feel like something very negative was attached to me that night. There's also, if you guys check out After the Haunt podcast, you can check that out on our Facebook page. That's my podcast we do after every investigation. I did a podcast at St. Albans right after all that happened, like that same night. Before I even got saved and laid hands on me. And you can listen to it in my voice. Like, you can just hear it coming through the podcast, that it's not me. And so it's very interesting. You guys, if you want to listen to that, check that out. It's, like I said, After the Haunt podcast on Facebook. So
what were you able to do in order to get rid of this attachment?
to be honest, they did some praying. I felt a little bit better afterwards, like after I walked out of the building, because they said, you will not, leave with, with Chris. You're going to stay here. You're not going to follow him home. And I'll tell you, for about a week, I did not feel good. I wanted to stay in bed. I was sick to my stomach. My head burned. Like my whole scalp burned and itched like I had a sunburn. And, it's middle of the winter when we went there. So, I just couldn't explain it. I've never felt anything like that. That happened for like 3 days and then it just went away. So yeah, I mean, just a lot of praying and a lot of, other stuff that I do with, my healer and my psychic medium. They give me certain stones and stuff to keep on me at all times, when I feel anxiety and stuff that really work. So, I would recommend anybody to go out and do some research on that, because, they do help.
Yeah, I like to use the St. Michael prayer, as well as carrying tourmaline and selenite with me, and also wearing a pendant. I have a cross, and then I also have a piece of tourmaline on there, just in case I forget the one in my pocket. And I've also learned not to go on a case when I'm sleepy or just not in the right frame of mind or in some sort of weakened state, because when you do have that little chink in your armor, things do like to attach. And I had an episode like yours where I didn't go in because generally when I pull up to a place, I can sense an energy. And on this one, I didn't. And I brought her a cleansing kit and I showed her how to use it. And that thing attached to me as soon as I took the tourmaline out of my pocket and changed into my pajamas. And I lost a good amount of time. And it's really scary. So I won't go out if I am compromised in any way. Do you guys have any rules like that for your team as well?
We do. One major rule that we have is kind of touching on the base of what you had spoke about before. We do not. We don't antagonize. We are very. And I will check over my crew, beforehand. If anybody's not feeling, up to it, if they don't feel good, if there's even the slightest bit of weakness, I have them do something else, maybe stay outside, sell shirts, something like that, kind of talk to people, kind of guide people out of the building if they're feeling sick, give them a different job because my team is like they are my family, they may not be blood, but they are my family. And, I want to take care of them. And I do encourage, my team, and they know this, to do their research on healers and stuff, because I'm not very knowledgeable I will be honest with you, I'm not knowledgeable when it comes to that healing stuff. I do have somebody that, teaches me and tells me about this stuff. And I basically just do what they ask me to do. Tourmaline is one of the stones that I do carry on me, that they told me to carry. And there's also you'll probably know what it is. It's like a white, almost like a white crystallized, almost looks like salt.
Yeah, that's the selenite.
Selenite. And they tell me the selenite will actually cleanse the tourmaline. And then there was another one they gave me that started with an N, and I cannot remember it for the life of me. But they said don't carry the tourmaline and the other one at the same time, but make sure that after you do an investigation that you take them off of you someplace away and lean it up against the selenite so that it cleanses it. But like I said, I'm not knowledgeable about that stuff. And if you're interested in it, I definitely, talk to somebody about it because it does help. It absolutely 100%. But I'm sorry, I skewed off your question. So to answer your question, yes, I definitely want my investigators to do stuff like that. But I also have very seasoned investigators on my side. Two or a couple, just like me and my wife, that own their own investigation company. They just decided to kind of jump on board with us to help us out, and they want to kind of join up teams. So, but they're all very seasoned and they all have their own ways of doing things. And, I'm 100% for it. I don't tell them, too much on how to do their stuff. They know what they should and they shouldn't do. But basically treating our guests, like family is number one, and making sure that they're safe and themselves are safe is very important.
Do you guys have like monthly meetings or classes for your team to educate them more? And also, it sounds like you have a diverse group, and that really does come in handy because as investigators, we don't know everything. And, to have people that have different upbringings or different beliefs really is helpful in the paranormal field because you never know what you're going to come across.
100% agree with that. And, like, even though I've believed since I was 13, so, not to give my age away or anything, that's, 25 plus years, whatever, but I've only been doing this, like, as I'm going to say, as intriguing as it is, for about 15 years, but I don't care if I'm doing it for 30 years. I learn something new on every investigation. That's what's so intriguing about it. I mean, how many things can you do where every time you do something you learn? I mean, there's just really, I'm a truck driver during the week, you know what I'm saying? And I've been doing that 16 years. There's really nothing else to learn. I know how to drive a truck. I'm very professional at it. There's not, once you know how to stick shift and drive the truck, that's it. But this is something that you can learn all the time. And, it's definitely a plus to have those different kinds of personalities and experiences, and that's really why I wanted to branch out because, like I said, me and my wife, we live in Tennessee. Cindy lives in Alabama. Josh and Jamie live in Michigan. You know, Shayla and Patty, they live in Indiana. You know, so we're all over the place. You know, and eventually I want team members, you know, if we can get that big, I'd like to have team members from every state. The reason why is because, you know, I can't be everywhere at once. And I would love to have information about all those places. And by them being there, they can scope out their areas, you know, as needed, and they learn stuff all the time. So yeah, absolutely. As far as monthly meeting goes, really, I mean, like I said, we're like a family. We talk all the time. And I wouldn't really call it meetings though. Like, it's not like anything organized. It's just, I mean, I talk to Josh at least 3 times a day. He's my event manager. You know, when I talk to him, I talk to his wife. She's our photographer, you know, and, Patty and Shayla, they're very busy. They're more on volunteer base right now, but they're awesome people. They help us when we need them. So we don't get to talk to them as much, but, you know, they're in the loop. Cindy, I can basically trust her with my life. You know, she's going to run a PKC event for me next month on Friday before I can get there on Saturday. And she's amazing. So yeah, we talk all the time, but as far as meetings go, we don't really call them that or anything like that. And we usually use our events or when we do like team investigations with just us, those are really our learning periods on learning stuff. And that's why we always try to invite, you know, different people, you know, like, you know, Ashley Godwin or David Childers or his wife. You know, we try to get different people from different parts of the place to be our guests so we can learn how they do things, you know.
Yeah, it's awesome to be able to learn from each other. We have a question in the chat room from Robin, and he was wondering, do you think the Ouija board is evil?
100%. I do. Only because I've had, I don't mess with it. I don't personally like it, but I have had an experience where, yes. So to answer his question, yes, I think it's either. I'm not a real big fan of the Ouija board, so, you know, I'm not very. I just try to stay away from it as much as possible.
Can you
How about
tell
you,
us?
Tessa?
Well, I was raised not to play with the Ouija board or play D&D or anything like that. After my mom had passed and I was living with my aunt and uncle. But when I was in the military, the girls were playing on this Ouija board we got from Private Black, who was actually run over by a tank during training. And so the girls and boys platoon of MRP were passing the board back and forth. And they're all playing on it. And of course I wanted to talk to my mom, but I watched them for a while, and they're like, "Hey, you wanna try this out?" And I'm like, "Sure." And so I got on there and I was like, "Can I talk to my mom?" And it said no. And I was just like, "F you then, I'm going to go take a shower." And this was during Hurricane Bonnie. And then I came back and there it was on my rack. Nobody was around. So mistake number 1, I got on there by myself. And it just started moving, and then faster and faster and faster and faster. And it said all my siblings' names and said to tell them and my dad that she's okay and everything's gonna be okay, and just different things about what it was like on her side of this, you know, world. And it was a really good experience, and I was really excited. The strange thing, I guess the girls came up and were trying to get my attention. They kept saying my name, and I didn't hear or feel anybody. I was just like so into that board. Then finally I did hear them, but I called my dad the next day and told him everything, and I was super excited. "Hey, I just talked to Mom." And then all of a sudden, he was like, "Well, you know, that could have been something else trying to pretend it's your mom just to gain your trust, and I wouldn't recommend doing it again." So that was my one and only experience with the Ouija board. My mentor had invited me to get on her Ouija board with her a few times, but I was like, "No, I'm okay, but I'll film it for you, or we'll do this Facebook Live or whatnot." And she's like, "No, that's okay." But what was your experience?
Mine personally, when I was like 16, 17 years old, we, me and a couple cousins, got one, and we kind of messed with it or whatever. And, even though I believed in spirits and stuff like that, I always thought, oh, it's just a game board. It's nothing. So let's just mess with it. I was trying to be the tough, high school guy, I protect you girls, whatever like that. Yeah. No, that's definitely not the case. Some crazy stuff happened. It was all over the place. Lamps broke, light shut off. The board just went nuts. And I just have never really been a fan of it. And some people will bash me for that. They're like, oh, well, you didn't give it a chance. And, I just, I try not to, if I believe, it's all about believing too. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like the Bible, I believe if you're going to see paranormal stuff, you have to believe. It's not, if you don't believe in it, and you keep yourself so close-minded, nothing's, anything that happens, you're just going to keep telling yourself that it's not what it actually is.
Yeah, a lot of people, tell me, I haven't ever seen anything. I want to see a ghost. What do I need to do? And I always tell them, you got to keep an open mind and basically try to open yourself up to it. The more you believe, the more likely you are to see one. And I actually had a person come back and say, hey, I just saw a ghost. And I guess it was at her child's daycare, an old lady in the backyard with the kids. And she asked the lady, hey, who's helping you out today? And she's like, nobody, I'm here by myself with the kids. And she's like, well, there's an old lady back there with the kids. And, went and there's nobody there. And the lady showed her a picture of her grandma. And she's like, yeah, that was her. So she contacted me and she was so excited. I finally got to see a ghost. But you do have to have that belief and that open-mindedness. A lot of us are blocked as kids by parents who don't want to hear about it or don't believe. And it's so awesome when a parent is supportive and open and does listen to your experiences and what happened and, don't shut that window on you, basically.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, that Robin gentleman that asked a question, I do have, and this isn't a plug for my page, but I do have plenty of fans on my page and friends on the page that follow that do have Ouija boards and do have a lot more experience than I do. So feel free to jump on over there and chat with them. They're the nicest fans in the world. They love talking about that kind of stuff. So if you want more information about it, if you're not really sure if you think it's evil or not, or what you believe, just, jump on over there, go to any site, there's people out there that do mess with them. That can tell you like legitimately, what they are. So.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, especially younger kids, and this is marketed to very young kids. It's kind of unbelievable to me, but everybody talks about it. Hey, this is just a parlor game, blah, blah, blah. But what a way to market something like that. People don't close it correctly a lot of times. Like little kids will get scared and run off and, put it in the box and never use it again or try to burn it and that doesn't work. But when you use tools, and a lot of people think of it, if you're using an EMF or trying to record voices, EVPs, or this and that, that's the same as using a Ouija board, which I disagree with, but I guess, for me it's because you're allowing that entity to kind of take control of you for that moment by moving the, whatever they call it, the little widget thing. Do you feel like other tools that we use in the paranormal field are the same as Ouija, or do you find it to be different?
I guess that's an excellent point in question, to be honest with you. I've never really thought of it like that, but I guess if I'm really to, delve into it, the way I look at it is it's all in the intent. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm going to go out and use an EMF detector or a spiritus or a spirit box or something like that, and my intent is to get information, yes, it is very possible that I can get, a demon or, or a bad voice. And that's happened before. Yes. But my intent isn't to do that. So yes, I understand that there's risks involved, but I've also know that the Ouija board has been used in a lot of seances and stuff like that. That is the sole purpose use of that. So it's just my experience. Everybody has a different opinion, but mine is it's just on your intent. So yes, there's always risks involved when it comes to using an EMF detector or any type of equipment, because it's been my experience that spirits use energy, and it doesn't have to just be on your phone or whatever. I mean, we have plenty of energy just inside of us. You know what I'm saying? And that's why before every event, I listen to some really good music. I get pumped up, I get my adrenaline going because they feed off of your energy, you know? But yeah, to me, it's just about intent. And if you don't allow them to, if you don't open yourself up for them to, just like you said, if you feel weird one time before, you don't do an investigation. So, because you don't want to open yourself up to the evil, because that's what attaches to you, because they like to find those small weaknesses. So to me, yeah, but I mean, it's just like anything you do, there's dangerous jobs out there. There's jobs that aren't dangerous that have dangers to them, but those things and you try to stay away from them. So.
JB in Periscope was kind of hitting on something that we discussed earlier. If you go somewhere haunted, can a ghost follow you home? I think you could go anywhere and something can attach to you. But what is your conclusion on that, Chris?
100%. Absolutely. It happens a lot more than we know it does. And I actually get stuff all the time where, not for just me, but just people that go on events or something, and they say, hey, this is happening and this wasn't happening at my house before. Could this have been something that followed me home? Absolutely. That all goes back to what we just talked about, leaving yourself open to have that attachment. If you allow yourself and you go in there unguarded, yeah, most definitely can attach to you. It can make you really sick. That's why, sometimes you'll see, people have like really red ears, when they come out, that don't have blood pressure problems, just things happen like that all the time. You can definitely bring something home with you.
Yeah, my husband was saying, well, if you didn't do investigations and such, we wouldn't have these issues. And I'm like, dude, you can go to a concert or to the hospital or wherever. If something sees you as a yummy snack or finds you interesting, it's going to come home with you. And I'm having ringing in my ear. That's really weird. But yeah, you don't have to be going out there and looking for it.
My ears just ringed when you said that. Mine were ringing as well. It's weird.
Yeah. I'm like, what the heck is that? Now it's gone. Or I can barely sense it. But yeah, you don't have to be out there looking for it. If something finds you interesting, sees that chink in your armor, or thinks of you as a yummy treat because you have negative energy coming off of you or whatnot, or you have kids at home, it'll go home with you, and you don't have to be out there looking for it. So it's important to really protect yourself, or get some help if you have something like that.
Mm-hmm. And another thing too, I'd like to say that a lot of people have a misconception about, and I think that has to do, with a lot of the stuff that's on TV nowadays. Spirits are alive and well 24 hours a day. Okay. They're not just going to come out at night. You know what I'm saying? They're here during the day. I've gotten plenty of EVPs, bright as sunshine. Okay. And another way to look at it too, if you believe in the paranormal, is there's a hell of a lot more dead people than there are living people, so you got to look at it like that. At least that's how I look at it, and like I said, I've gotten stuff during the day, and that's why we do day investigations now, because, we have gotten so much evidence during the day. And like you said, absolutely, anything can attach to you anytime it wants to, because none of us are perfect. I don't care who you are. We always have a weak point in our life, always. Hell, I have a weak point in my life every day. At least one part of my day, I'm weak somewhere, So at that point, something could attach to me. You just never know.
Yeah, we're only human. We do make mistakes, and we do have those openings at times. And there was another point that I was thinking of, but we're going to be going to break here in just a minute.
Okay.
We have a question from Sir Robin, and we can answer this when we come back from break. But he's talking about members of your team. If you have one with disabilities, he said, when your members are at their best, if they have a disability, has it been manipulated? Because he said it has happened to him. And that'd be very interesting to see. Maybe that comes along with that kind of openness. And a lot of times when people are disabled, it's not because you're lacking in anything. Sometimes it's because you are a more pure person, or you look like a yummy treat to them. But we'll answer that question when we come back from our first break. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Looking for nighttime adventure? Old school radio that delves into everything out of the norm? Then check us out at Spaced Out Radio. This is Dave Scott. Every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we're going to take you on a wild ride ranging from conspiracies to true crime and every ghost, alien, and Sasquatch story in between. We're always live, and we're always interactive with you. So join us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, we own the night.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, Tessa. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
If you're heading to Vancouver, make sure you stop by the official bar of Spaced Out Radio, the Moose Vancouver. It's the place to party in YVR. At the corner of Nelson and Granville, the Moose Vancouver is always up to speed with a kitchen staff that serves great food. All food on the menu, $6.95 to $8.95. There's a reason the Moose Vancouver is recognized as one of the hottest spots on the West Coast. Get your horns up for the Moose Vancouver. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
You can follow Tessa on Twitter at TessaTNT, on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio, and our website is spacedoutradio.com. Now, back to Spaced Out Weekend host, Tessa Nicole Thomas.
Hear the sound again, voices dancing in my head, smile wide, drowning slowly as the echoes rise.
Hey guys, welcome back, and thanks so much for listening to the show this evening. We have Chris with us from Dark Hunters Paranormal. Chris, welcome back. It's been awesome having you on the show tonight.
It's been awesome being here. Thank you.
So we left off with a question from Robin. Have you ever had a member with disabilities or people that go along on your hunts with disabilities, and has anything tried to latch on or attack them?
So as far as disabilities go, I'm gonna say okay. So me and Josh both have severe PTSD. and we're both on medication for it. I don't think that's a disability, but it does make a part of our mind a little weaker if we're not on our toes. So yes, that can happen. I have a really kind of not popular opinion when it comes to like the medical field and stuff like that. Because for instance, older people, when they get old, there's a thing called Alzheimer's or dementia, where they forget who you are, they can't remember and stuff like that. I have a feeling a lot of that has to do with their bodies getting weaker and the spirit is just attached to them more, forcing them not to remember. A lot of people aren't going to like me saying that, but it's just something that I feel. It's just kind of a hypothesis of mine. No shape or form am I saying that is fact or, fiction or whatever. It's just something that, I just I'm kind of going with, because like you said, if you are weak, it's very easy for them to attach onto. As far as people with a disability, physical, mental, it's possible. I mean, if you're missing a certain part of, or part of your brain's not working the way, it's supposed to, then yeah, I could see it. And like Robin said, it's happened to, him. So, yeah, that's the best I could probably answer that question. I hope that kind of helped.
Yeah, I think it does, as well as one of the rules we have when we do events, which we don't do very often. We had started off planning on doing it, and then someone came out with the exact name of what we were going to call our tour and live investigation. So we put it off, and we haven't gotten back into it, but we do World's Largest Ghost Hunt every year, which allows people to come in and join us on an investigation. And one of our rules is you can't be compromised as far as drinking. They call it spirits for a reason. If you're drinking hard alcohol or whatnot and you've compromised yourself that way, it's not good. Things do like to attach when you're doing that, or even when you're on drugs. Things can latch onto you there. So there's different ways to disable yourself, not just having a disability, but disabling yourself by drinking or using drugs before going on a hunt. Not a good idea.
I'd like to piggyback on that too. That I'm glad you said that, because all of our events are 100% no alcohol, no drugs, and that goes for our team. That goes for anybody attending our events. One thing I told the owners of our next venue was, we're very close to one of the major colleges, U of W. And the last thing I want is, a couple of frat guys coming down there and be like, yeah, let's go get some damn ghosts. Woohoo! Yeah, exactly. Like, going to get some ghosts. Come on. Woo! Party, and they're drunk off their butts. And I'm just, that's something I don't want to deal with, because these people pay good money, to get a real investigation. They don't want it ruined by, somebody, inebriated and stuff. And you don't want any, when we do these investigations, we don't want any excuse as to why you're seeing what you're seeing, besides the fact that it's there. You see what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to be like, oh, well, that guy was drunk, so he could have been seeing anything, or that guy was high or whatever, and he could have been, you know what I'm saying? So we just alleviate all that for the fun of it for our guests, and, we don't allow it at all. And, so yeah, I'm glad you point that out, because we do the exact same thing, and it's on all of our tickets as well. So
that's awesome. And that's a good way to, protect them as well. They're not even realizing what they're doing. So, good on you guys for doing that. How about, I want to delve more into a lot of the paranormal investigations that you guys have done as a team or in your own personal time, but let's talk a bit about some of your upcoming events.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so one of our events, the next event that we have coming up is going to be at the Broadhead Manor, which is actually known as the Screamatorium in Broadhead, Wisconsin. It's a really big haunted house. It's really well known up in the Midwest. But We're taking it over for 2 nights to do strictly paranormal. We're not doing any, yes, the decorations are still going to be up, but it's not going to be where people jump out at you. It's not going to be a haunted house. It's going to be like a legitimate paranormal event. And this is a really cool thing because we had a special guest that was going to join us. Matter of fact, she used to be the executive producer of World's Largest Ghost Hunt, Mary Marshall. She's also known as the Paranormal MD. And unfortunately, she's not able to attend now because of some personal issues she's dealing with, and we wish her the best. So we're thinking about you, Mary. Just wanted to put that out there. But so we're still going to do the paranormal workshop, which is something she was going to be part of. And that is a 3-hour daytime interactive event, basically at the Broadhead Manor, to where, anyone from 12 and up, basically ages 12 and up, can join. We'll do an investigation from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's only $20 per person. And you get to do the whole building. You get to learn how we use the equipment, why we use the equipment, how the equipment works. And it's a really good thing for family. Like if you want to take your kids out on the Labor Day weekend, it's a really good family oriented exercise too. Everybody can get together, learn, and have fun together, and try to see if you can find some spirits or some ghosts while we're there during the day. And if you're kind of prone to not liking the dark, it's a great opportunity for you to not have to do an investigation in the dark. So those tickets are $20, and then our regular overnights, which is from 7 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., both August 31st and September 1st, are $65, and that'll get you your overnight investigation. It'll get you a buffet dinner served by the owners of the event, and then also a midnight snack. And that'll get you all the way till 3:30 in the morning. That'll get you access to the whole building. You'll have awesome investigators taking you out. And then we have the last tier, which is the VIP. And the VIP is basically everything. You can do the day investigation for 3 hours. Then you'll eat your buffet dinner. We'll take a break. We'll talk. We'll hang out. And then we'll do the nighttime investigation. You get a midnight snack. Everybody else leaves at 3:30. The VIP actually get to sleep in the Broadhead Manor overnight. We'll feed you a continental breakfast the next morning, and you'll be on your way. So the VIP is a really cool thing. You also get a very exclusive investigation with me and Melissa, a very smaller group, kind of, some key points that maybe we won't be able to take, some of the other people, because we're going to be in a smaller group. So that's kind of something to think about if you're thinking about maybe getting the VIP and you want to stay the night. So that's our next event coming up. I hope I'm not talking too much here, but and then so we'll do that one, and then the one after that will be at the Twin City Opera House, just east of Columbus. There was Portal to Hell was just there not too long ago, and that one is only $50 to attend. It's a very limited quantity. We're going to do that one. That's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely join us for that. And so we got a couple other ones to go to too. And you guys can always go to our Dark Hunters Paranormal LLC or Paranormal Group LLC page on Facebook and see all of our events on there as well. And you can get your tickets at the darkhuntersparanormal.com.
And a lot of people, think that the best time for an investigation is at night. And I think that's just because it's quieter. You don't have all the people going to and from work and whatnot. But one of our best investigations was during the day. So no matter what time of day you go on a hunt, you're bound to catch something.
100%. The reason a lot of event companies, and I'll say this, just being an event, booking places, a lot of the times we do them at night. Number one, some of these places are open during the day for, their regular day museum tours or something like that, so we can't really get there during the day. So it's easier for us to get at night. Number two, the mind and your senses are a lot more active in the dark. You're more prone to, hear stuff, see stuff, possibly, it's easier to see something in the dark than it is, maybe in the day, because, you see something you can't explain. So that's really why we do it in the evening. But like I said, we're really trying to get to where we can do them during the day as well. So yeah, definitely. And we get great investigations during the day. I've been to several like state parks to where like you can't book overnight, and I'll just take my equipment. They can't stop you from taking your equipment there. I'll just take my equipment and walk around the cemetery or the graveyards, the old Confederate sites, and just, do a spiritus or a EVP. I get all kinds of stuff. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. One of our best cases, and it's my favorite because we were able to actually help this spirit, but we went really early in the morning, which I am a real anti-morning person. I stay up way too late at night, and but I went because I really wanted to go, and it was at the Railroad Museum, and the ghost came through and said, Kate Johnson, Walter intention death, sharp tool, so on and so forth. They were calling this ghost Emmy, which there is a ghost there named Emmy. She's a little girl. But we gave him all the information. He did his homework and came back and told us her name was Kate Johnson. She was a soiled dove, a.k.a. prostitute, back in the 1800s. She had eloped with her boyfriend or fiance, who was a firefighter. They were going to go get married. She was going to quit the business, and being that she was a working girl, she had been with the brakeman as well. He found them together. Fight ensued. He stabbed her boyfriend or fiance to death. She felt really guilty because had she not been there, it wouldn't have happened. So she tried to move to California to move on with her life, and she just never got over it. She was raised Catholic, ended up taking her own life, and was stuck back there on the train car, kind of like her own purgatory. Of all things that released her from purgatory was a Catholic school class, so that was pretty interesting. But it's my favorite because we were able to help her, and due to free agency, about 3 months later, she came back to protect the little girl Emmy, because the brakeman is there as well, and we got pictures of him. We have pictures of Kate and Emmy, and it's just amazing the different things that you can capture. But that was a very active early morning investigation, so you're just never surprised in this field, really.
You're really not. Absolutely not. I'd love to share a story if you'd let me, Tessa, about kind of a really, really creepy situation that happened to me and Melissa when we went out to a friend's house out in Virginia.
I'd love to hear it.
Awesome. Great. Okay. So this was we went out there for vacation to see a friend of ours, and to provide privacy, I'm not going to say any names in this situation. I'll just kind of describe how the situation happened, and I'll just use, adjectives or whatever. But so what transpired is, every time we go on vacation or anytime we go anywhere, we always just talk to people about what we do. We love it. We went into this old Irish store that was owned by an Irish immigrant at the time, back in the 1800s. And there was a lot of stuff that happened in this place. They used to have stuff in a lot of gold in the basement and stuff, and the consulate found it, and they ended up taking everything from them. But so the place is still there. The man that owns it now, he's from Ireland. And then the woman that works there, she lives in town, and she was really loving the fact that we were in the paranormal. Well, a couple days later, she had called our friend and asked if we would be interested in investigating her house, because some crazy things were happening there. It's a pre-Civil War house, used to be a hospital, and they'd help Civil War soldiers there and stuff. So we were like, yeah, absolutely. Cause we always do, anytime somebody asks for help, we always do it for free. If it, as far as their house goes or something like that, there's no charge. We go help them out. So we went over to her house, and the thing I like most, kind of piggybacks off your story about what you like most about, paranormal, is that things happen that you don't even expect. You know, you could go to a location and it could have, you know, a Civil War soldier was murdered there, a lady was killed by her dad or something like that, and the stuff that you get there may not have anything to do with what actually happened at the house. And this is kind of that situation. So we're sitting around the table, and I kind of felt some type of presence in the dining room. So I told everybody to come in the dining room and have a seat. So we had a seat. I opened up my spiritus. And as I opened up the spiritus, I just started asking questions, you know, just kind of, you know, real direct forward questions and trying to get answers. And the spiritus said a name. Not going to, like I said, I can't say the name for privacy of the people because it's a very serious matter. But anyway, so a friend of ours, she started crying, and we asked her why she was crying, and she said that the name on the spiritus was her ex-husband. That is actually, he's in jail right now because he had done some very horrible things to her and her kids. And he's awaiting trial. He actually just got sentenced to 252 years, thank God. But anyway, so this was before all that. So he's still in jail. The spiritist said his name. She started freaking out. So I says, would you like to ask the spiritist questions since it seems like it's communicating with you? And I says, if you feel comfortable. And she says, absolutely. So she started asking questions. She says, how do you know my ex-husband? And then it said a little girl's name. She started freaking out. The little girl's name was the same girl that her husband had said he had killed and buried in the woods, and nobody would ever find out about it. This little girl said she was in the woods buried on the spiritus. There's no way, I don't know if you've ever used a spiritus before, Tessa, but there's no way to manipulate it at all. Like, you cannot type in anything. It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't hear any, like, it's not like she said it and then it said it back to her. It was answering her questions as she was asking it. And it was just incredible. And we actually had one of our psychic medium healers there, and she actually crossed over this little girl to where she got her answers, and, you know, she went over. But it was the most, like, amazing thing I've ever seen. One of the most incredible investigations, because, like I said, it had nothing to do with something that was attached to that house. It was just this little girl needed to get to our friend and tell her that what her husband said was true, and not just threatening her to scare her not to leave him. So yeah, I wish I could say the names, but I really, I respect people's privacy, and I don't want anything to be out like that. So
that is amazing. And, you know, there are intelligent ghosts out there. Sometimes it's residual and it's kind of like a replay, but for her to come through like that makes me wonder if, has she ever been found? Did they ever recover her body?
They've never, the whole story was that they said that she had overdosed, but this girl had never touched a drug in her life. And so he was with her when they said that she overdosed. Well, come to find out, that's not what happened. He had, what she had told us on the spiritus was that he raped and killed her and buried her. Him and a friend had buried her in the woods. And they had, as far as our friend knows, that she said they've never found her.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if there was any way that you guys could have, you know, gotten enough out of her to find her location or whatnot. That would have been awesome. Or perhaps
we actually did. She said the county that she was buried in too. She said the county she was in, and he actually told our friend that that's exactly where he buried. It was really crazy. Like, I mean, like I said, this is why we do what we do, because you just can't, you just can't make this stuff up. It's legitimate. Like, it's so real. It's just unbelievable, it's crazy. And, but on the same token, I don't know how comfortable, that was kind of her situation. And so I told her if she ever wanted anything more from it, just let us know. And, we would contact whoever we needed to contact. But, So yeah, definitely.
Did you guys drop a line to the county police or whatnot just to let them know this information that you had received, or you're, like you said, you're just leaving that for her in case she wants to follow through with it?
Yep. That's basically what we're doing. Yep, that's what we're doing. Mm-hmm.
That's got to be so hard. I know I dealt with...
It is.
Yeah.
So bad.
I dealt with ridicule and such growing up, but as an adult, when a kid in our community came up missing, that's what kind of brought me out of the paranormal closet. I'm like, I want to help, and I think there's a way that I can. And so that's how our group started. But yeah, just having kids, missing and terrible things happening to them in a family that's wondering if they're okay or where they're at, like, it'd be so awesome to have that closure for that family. So hopefully someday she'll come through and give them that tip, and perhaps they'll start some sort of search.
Yeah, I really wanted to go out there with a shovel and just start digging, because, like, that's crazy. Whew.
Caller, did you have a question for Chris?
Chris, okay, yes, okay, Chris, what is your credential? I didn't hear that at the...
What's my credential as far as, what do you mean, sir?
You are talking, I don't...
He's breaking up, Tessa. I can't hear him.
Yeah, if you could leave a question in the chat room, because you are breaking up. I don't know if it's your audio or what, but we're not able to hear the rest of your question. So please feel free to leave a question in the chat room, and we'll definitely get that to Chris. All right. It's terrible when we can't hear a caller. But we do have a question in the chat room. Moonlight. Oh, goodness. I'm not able to answer that call because it'll make me hang up on you. Mooney was asking, Chris, do you find that spirits are virtually everywhere? He says, I sense them in every home I walk into, basically. What do you think attracts them? Oh no, I think we lost him. Let me call him back. Sorry, guys.
Hey, I think I lost you.
Yeah, we lost you for a second. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry about that.
Mooney was asking, Chris, do you find that spirits are virtually everywhere? He says, I sense them in every home I walk into, basically. What do you think attracts them?
Honestly, I mean, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what attracts them. I guess each spirit is different. Maybe they have questions that need to be answered. Maybe, or maybe they're just lost. I wish I had the answers. That's exactly why we do what we do, because we try to get as much information as possible. That's why we ask questions. But yeah, I don't know the answer to that. Which, like I said, that's why we do what we do.
JB in Periscope is wondering, Chris, what is the scariest thing that you have experienced, like a ghost or whatnot?
Scariest thing that I have experienced? That's a good question. I'd have to say that the situation at St. Albans was pretty scary. When something takes over you like that and you can't remember, and you're not inebriated, you're not on any type of drugs or anything like that, and it takes over you to where you want to, like, physically hurt somebody, that's pretty scary. I mean, it doesn't get much scarier than that, to where you don't have control. So I'd have to say that situation that I talked about earlier in the show was probably the scariest situation I've ever been in.
And what is the very first investigation you and Melissa did as a team?
Shoot. Old jail in St. Augustine, Florida. The oldest jail in the U.S. And that was 2008, babe? 2010. Yep, 2010 is when we did that one. So that was our first one together.
Can you tell us a little bit about how it went and what you guys discovered in your investigation?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So we actually did that one with a local paranormal group because they had pretty much the lockdown in the whole city. You know, they kind of have the monopoly of it. So we did that one with that group, and it was actually just me, Melissa, my wife, and then another lady. And kind of the funny part of the story was when we walked in, you know, my wife says, "Now, babe, don't leave me. Staying right by my side." And of course, what do? I run straight upstairs because I want to go investigate, you know, and I leave her with the other lady. I'm kind of a jerk for that. But some things that happened in the jail was I sat on the jail, like one of the bunk beds, and the blanket kind of came up off the bed and got thrown across the room. That scared the crap out of me. And, you know, I think that person pretty much told me that they didn't want me in the jail cell. And then the worst thing that happened was actually my wife had gotten a bruise on her side right below her breast, and it was about the size of 2 softballs. And it was there, and I've never seen her bruise that bad. And she, you know, she didn't touch anything. She didn't run in anything. What'd you say, huh? She was in death row in the middle, and that's where it happened. And the next day, the bruise was completely gone.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did she get any sort of feeling like she was being attacked when it happened, or she was just totally surprised?
She said she got molested when she was in death row. She said that someone was playing with her hair, touching her back, and basically just messing with her, touching her where they shouldn't have been touching her and stuff like that. But there's supposed to be a spirit named Charlie there that does that to women. So
dirty, dirty ghost.
You dirty boy, you.
I'm glad she recovered so quickly, because a lot of times, sometimes those will stay with you for quite a while, and it's amazing that it formed and then left so quickly. And sometimes scratches are like that as well. Have you ever been touched or scratched or received any injuries such as that?
I have been scratched before, 3 scratches on my back. And like I said before, my head was burning for like 3 days, like it got sunburned or something, itched, like an incredible itch, like I've never felt before in my life. So those are probably the worst things that ever happened. Usually, I don't usually get hurt, but those are the 2 instances that's happened.
And a lot of times when people get scratched, they automatically assume that it's a demon, but a lot of times it can be a spirit as well, either trying to get your attention or to harm you so you'll go away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Yep. Yeah, I never assume that unless, you know, I'm getting other type of evidence that may be what it is. You know, because there's all kinds of different things that can tell you if it's a demon or not. Did that gentleman that called in, did he get his question wrote in? I'm really curious. I really want to answer his question now.
I'm still scrolling up to find it. And Robin was following up with his question about the disability, and he said he's 35 and he has seizures and he was at his best. And he said a dark spirit manipulated in a bad way. Just to follow up on his question for you, and I'm still scrolling up here to find Ron's question. So hopefully we'll find that here shortly. Have you guys ever had a case that just totally blew your mind and basically was one of the most amazing things that you guys had uncovered or experienced?
I'd have to say, honestly, that situation that happened in Virginia, I mean, that was really incredible. We have some interesting stuff like that before. Like another instance that something like that happened was, so I did an investigation of my home. My home is a brand new home here in Tennessee. We just purchased it early this year, and we live out in the middle of BFE. And so I decided to do like a 3-hour investigation because we're always hearing things in my house that are just unexplainable. So I figured, what the hell? I'll go live and do a Facebook Live for 3 hours and, do it. And so we got a little girl named Anne or Annie, I think it was Annie, that was coming through the Spiritus. And so we were talking to her and she was answering our questions. I even had Josh, my event manager, on live with me, and he was live streaming with me as well. And we were asking questions, and she said, find me. I need help. Annie, find me. The crazy part about that was, okay, I did this investigation on a Sunday night, okay? Josh and his wife went to a cemetery in Michigan, okay, and did an investigation with EVP, but they did not go over their EVP until Monday, okay? So this was after we had already did our investigation Sunday night, but they had done their investigation on Sunday, okay? And we have the videos, all of this, you guys can look, and I've even tagged everything so you guys can watch this. Josh and his wife were at the cemetery when they went over their EVPs on Monday. They were in the cemetery, and the EVP went through when he had asked who's here. It said Annie, and it said over there, and it was pointing. It was basically where he had started walking, where Jamie was at. He said, Annie, are you here? And she said yes, and it was a cemetery, but it didn't have any headstone. It just had a little angel, some flowers, and stuff like that. It was one of the only graves that didn't have a headstone. And we just thought that was just incredibly coincidental that Sunday night he was on there and Annie came through my Spiritus 4 states away in Tennessee, Annie saying, help me. And then he went over his, stuff from Sunday on Monday, and that's where we came with, and he put it all on video and everything. So that was pretty incredible.
It is amazing when stuff like that happens, and it kind of seems like time and distance really isn't an issue in the spirit realm. It's pretty interesting, the things that happen, and like I said before, you're never surprised, and fact generally seems to be stranger than fiction to me. My mind is constantly blown.
Mine is too. That is true.
Nikki was wondering, have you or your team ever had to report info to the police before?
Not yet. We have not. No, we have not had to at this moment. But if we were to ever find, basically, if we're at an investigation, we found something that, needed to be reported, it would obviously, be reported right away. So, but at this time, no, we've never got anything that needed to be reported to the police at this time. So.
All right. And I finally found Ron's question in the chat room. He was asking, what are your credentials in dark hunting? Do you have any sort of certificate or certain types of training or whatnot?
In dark hunting.
Yeah.
So is he kind of going back to where I was saying that dark hunting doesn't mean that I'm or is he just asking what my credentials is for being a paranormal investigator? Like, that's really, it has nothing to do with dark hunting, because my name is not that we go hunt dark spirits. Our name is because we hunt in the dark. as far as getting a certificate, I mean, I've heard that there are classes online where you can get like a certificate for like $250. No, I do not have one. No, I don't claim to know any more than anybody else. I just love it and I'm into it. And I know how some of the scientific equipment that we use works, because I've used it for a while and I'm always learning every day on new equipment. So, no, I mean, I as far as credentials go, I'm a people person and I enjoy learning new things about the paranormal. So as far as, getting a certificate or something, how would you answer that, Tessa? I'm just I guess I'm kind of flabbergasted by that question. I'm not really sure.
I've looked into doing parapsychology and stuff like that, but as far as paranormal investigation, when we started with virtually no tools, except for like an EMF detector and a voice recorder, but it kind of goes back to experiences you've had using your common sense, listening to your gut, and doing your homework. We've done a lot of different training for our team as far as ways to protect ourselves, different things that are out there, so on and so forth. But I've never really looked into a class for it because, like I said before, I've dealt with the paranormal all my life. And I don't know. I kind of think maybe people that do go out and get that certificate are the ones running around saying they're experts, when in reality there are no experts in this field because we're constantly learning. And I don't think we'll ever learn everything about the paranormal because we're not meant to, but there is so much to learn, and I don't see how there could be a class to cover everything. Perhaps classes in protection and how to use different tools, but that basically comes along with, using it repeatedly and using your common sense. I think common sense and your gut are your most important tools, but no, I haven't gone out and gotten training for paranormal investigation.
I have something I want to add to that. So I guess the logical answer to your question, Ron, would be credentials as far as certificate, no. But as far as being in the field around other people that have the same passion as I do, that have been in different places that I haven't, that do know things that I don't, or I know things that they don't. We all learn from each other. I think that kind of goes back to me having people on my team from different areas of the country, because or different levels of experience with the paranormal. Like Tessa said, we'll never. I don't think there's ever going to be a point where you're 100% knowledgeable about everything paranormal, because that is why it's called paranormal. It's unexplainable, but we're intrigued by it. It's just something that I've been dealing with for a long time, something that, Tessa has, my wife has, and we're very interested in it. And we just kind of want to share that with the public. But that's, I guess, if you want to say credentials, I guess that my credentials would be, I gather people that are in the field just as much as I am to learn from them as well. And that's why I have special guests at some of my events as well.
Yeah, and it's so amazing to have a diverse group of people or different people around at different times, because we are constantly learning from each other. And for me, that's the best training, like on-the-job training and, learning from your group or, like you said, a special guest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
Daryl had tried to call, but I think she was trying to do the group call, so it would have hung up on you. But she said she wanted you to speak about your feelings about mental illnesses and the medication he agrees with or disagrees with that people are put on. He didn't elaborate much on it, but she feels that you would have a little encouragement. Did you have anything on that for Daryl?
As far as mental illness? Like as far as like depression and PTSD and stuff like that?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% encourage that. And I know earlier in the thing I said, as far as medical field goes, there's a lot of things I don't trust. But I mean, there's a lot of things in life I don't trust. But as far as the medical field, being the fact that I do have a mental illness, I do suffer from PTSD, medication does help me. And I do encourage anyone that is dealing with severe depression, or any type of anxiety, PTSD, or, just any type of mental illness. Absolutely. Seek help. That's something I feel very passionate about as well. Being a veteran, it kind of brings me to suicide as well. We're at 22 vets a day, and even more, other people that, commit suicide, because of depression, because of PTSD. And, that's way too many. It's, just way too many people. Any number above 0 is way too many people. So absolutely. When it comes to mental illness, I encourage you to get help, to use all the resources that are available to you, to talk to a friend, and if you feel like your friend is acting differently, try and be a little more, involved in their life, because, you never know what somebody's going through. And that's, I've actually done videos on that as well on my page. Because it's something I am passionate about, because I have been down that dark road before several times, and it's not a fun road to be on. And, I'll try, and I do encourage that. Matter of fact, me and my wife, we donate to different organizations when it comes to stuff like that. So like, for instance, June is PTSD Awareness Month. September is PCOS month. So yeah, absolutely. We support that 100%. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and I do agree with you. Like, we're losing veterans every day, and I was really dumbfounded when the government had come out and said PTSD isn't real. Like, it is real, and there's so many of us that do have to deal with it on a regular basis, and they're finally coming out and helping people. But I don't know, I think it was after the military where I really had issues with the medical field, period. Like, I didn't want to go unless I was on my deathbed and somebody carried me in. I did not want to go to the hospital, from different experiences that I had had. And I've lost many of my friends due to suicide, due to either not being properly medicated for certain things, or they'd start off giving this particular person morphine, and then in the end they're like, well, we can't give that to you anymore, and then they basically give them Tylenol. We have a caller. Who are we talking to?
Oh, it worked. It did work. Hi, it's Daryl.
Hey, Daryl. How's it going?
Okay.
Hi, Daryl.
How are you doing? I love your guest. He's great. And
Thank
you're
you.
great. I wanted to talk about a few things. I was going to ask you a dumb question first. Are you doing like a theme park? Is this a restaurant that you could do your thing with your group? It sounds like something familiar, because I heard something familiar to this on a different show, that they do an actual event, and it's actually done like a franchise in every city. They're growing and growing. It's like a wax museum tour, very paranormal and creepy, and it's very much more rehearsed and scripted, but along the same lines as what you're doing. Are you following me?
I am following you. So in retrospect, I know what you're saying. I know the company you're talking about, and yeah, we kind of do that, but where we kind of are different is we do like the big places like East State Penn, West Virginia Penn, the really big places, Ohio State Reformatory. We do like those places. Unfortunately, what tends to happen is, they get really popular and then they get over investigated, and Tessa could probably do a whole show on that. But what happens if you get, a place over investigated 3-4 times a week, every week, what do we say, or what is our hypothesis on spirits? They run on energy, so they get drained just like we do, and they just don't want to deal with us. So I like to go to new places, but our events are basically just more of an educational, historical type thing. So when you come to our events, so we will take you to these places that you probably normally wouldn't get to go to, and with people that have a little bit of experience in the paranormal field, and they'll show you how to use. We'll show you how to use the equipment that we use. We'll go with you. We'll take you into the building, certain spots. So I guess you could look at it like that. We are an entertainment business as far as, we absolutely we're entertainment. And I'll even go a step further, whereas if any of my guests that purchase a ticket, if we go and for some reason we're not getting any type of activity or anything like that, I mean, I have several different talents. I'm a comedian. I like to make people laugh, and I make sure that they get their money's worth. So, but yeah, absolutely, yeah, we definitely go around, but I wouldn't call it like a theme park or something. But I would call it more just like an event entertainment business.
Actually, I don't see why it shouldn't be. I think it's a great concept and a great idea to take something like that and it's much more organic than something scripted, to have something like that organically occur. I think it's a great concept. I just got inspired in 20 ways by what you're doing. I think it's awesome.
Did I answer your question earlier about the mental illness?
Oh, no, you didn't, actually. You didn't. I was thinking about more along the lines of, I felt you know a little bit more and you have a little more ideas about other ways to treat it and other misdiagnosed things. For example, people that hear voices, for example. Are they all schizophrenic? Are they all being, half the people that are doing these, let's say, these murders, these mass shootings, for example, are they all really that crazy, or were they programmed? I mean, the MK.
That's an excellent question. I would love to answer that with they're being programmed. I would love to, because me and my wife, we love watching those shows. She's actually got me watching, those Ted Bundy things and stuff like that, because you watch it and you're like, there's absolutely no way that somebody could be this insane, legitimately insane. So yeah, we would love to think that's what happens, but I am no way, shape, or form qualified to make that type of diagnosis. But I would like to think that could happen, and that's like I said, my hypothesis. And when it comes to schizophrenic, or doing something like that, that's just uncomprehendable to the human mind. When you see something like that, it's like, how could somebody do that? Just like grown men that like, little children. I can't comprehend that, but there's sick people out there. So,
you gotta wonder, how many priests grow up to be molesters? A huge percentage, but that's probably other reasons. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons for that. Yeah, but I was thinking about something else I wanted to mention. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention, I do have a degree in asking questions. I got that at the metaphysical school for the question ask. I actually majored in asking questions.
Nice.
Congratulations.
I think that was the degree they were looking for in that question that was asked.
She's certified, Ron. She's certified, so there you go.
Right. But I got my certification. You have to renew it every 4 years. So
I think somebody else joined the line, Tessa.
Yeah, we do have another caller. Daryl, did you have anything else for Chris before we do move on to our next caller?
No, about 10 more, but that's okay. Let the next one go.
Thanks, Daryl. Take care. Appreciate you.
Okay, great show. Bye.
Bye, Daryl. Thanks so much for calling in.
Okay.
We do have a caller from area code 701. Who are we talking to?
Matthew, is it Tessa?
Yes, this is Tessa, and we're joined by Chris.
Yeah. I actually tuned into you accidentally 2 times now, and I just wanted to say that you're doing a good job. You are rocking it and punching it, whatever you wanted to do, you're doing it.
Aw, thanks so much.
Yeah, I wanted to, you were, getting trolled the last time I talked to you or listened to you, and I wanted to call in and I texted you. I said, I want to troll you, because it would be so much of a pleasure, but I couldn't figure out how to troll you, so that's my curiosity, and you're doing a good job. I think you're from southern Colorado or something like that, around this or that part, but yeah, you're doing good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the positive feedback. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad you figured out how to call in.
Well, I just texted you. I want to troll you, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. And all I can come up with was, "You're doing a good job."
Oh, thank you. Well, since you're on the line,
Yeah.
do you have a paranormal question for Chris about ghost hunting or anything that he may have experienced?
I do have a little bit of an analytical thing that we all get what we are looking for in life. And if he's looking for ghosts, he's going to find them. If you're looking for drama, Tessa, you're going to find it. That's about it.
Well, that's some good sound advice.
Well, it's just the way the world works. I mean, like if I wanted some drama and this and that, I'd probably get out there in the world. I don't want it anymore. It's so like rudimentary and just not where I need to be developed in this world. So I just don't partake in it.
Yeah, it's definitely not hard to find.
I know, and I meet a lot of good people in this world. And we all have a common thread and a common goal, but that's where, I don't know, I don't have no full philosophical thing for anybody. I'm not a philosophical person because I don't have a pony doctorate. But,
right.
Huh?
I said, right? Like, all of us are human, and to be human is to err, but I do have to cut you off there because we have to go to our second break. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Hold on to me. That's what.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, Tessa. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology: Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
Sit back, relax, grab a drink, and listen closely. Spaced Out Radio continues through the weekend. From the mile-high mountains of Colorado to you, listening around the world, this is Spaced Out Weekend with Tessa Nicole Thomas.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us tonight and listening. Tonight we have Chris from Dark Hunters Paranormal Group. Chris, welcome back, and thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Thank. It's been really fun, and all the guests that have been asking questions have been really awesome too. Thank you so much.
And I also wanted to thank you, as well as Ron from the chat room. Thank you so much for your service and all the sacrifices that you've made for our freedom. We really appreciate you.
Yes, thank you, Ron. Thank you.
All right, so we have a caller from the 425 area code. Who are we talking to?
You're talking to Robin.
Hey, Robin, how's it going?
Going good.
So did you have a question for Chris tonight?
It really wasn't actually a question. You're talking about Ted Bundy and all the other people. Well, I live about 45 miles from Ted Bundy's house.
That's awesome. I mean, is it awesome? I don't know. For me, it's awesome.
I thought he was nomadic, but whatever.
So, I actually want to go there and investigate it around there.
You want to investigate Ted Bundy's house?
Yeah, I do.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to hear what happenings and what you uncover for sure on that one.
I mean, this may sound a little bit morbid because I actually like true crime, and so I would actually like to live there.
Oh, hey, we all have our things, man. That's awesome. I mean, shoot, like I said, hey, Tessa, maybe we should get our groups together and make an event out there. What do you think?
That'd be awesome. I'd be down.
I'm down. Yeah, right? I'll do it.
I don't want to live there, but...
At Bundy's house?
I mean, I'm pretty sure, I mean, because I'm pretty sure that house has to be, even just around the place, has to be highly haunted.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Just all the evil stuff that man was, for sure.
Hello?
Hello. Can you please hold caller? We're about to finish with this call, and then we'll go right to you. If you could mute yourself for a second.
Anyways, that's just what I wanted to say.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks so much for calling in, and yeah, I'd love to join a group and come out and do that. That would be a pretty awesome investigation to check out, because I'm really into that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks so much for calling in, Robin. It was good to hear from you.
All right. Bye, Chris.
See you, buddy. Thank you.
All right, so we have a caller from area code 484. Who are we talking to?
Hello, this is Christopher from Allentown.
Hey, Christopher.
Hey,
How's it going?
All right. I'm curious. Has the guest ever encountered a client having spirits give him issues in dreams?
Give him what kind of dreams?
Has the spirits affected their dreams?
Oh, that's an amazing question, Christopher. I tend to believe, and like I said, everybody's got their own beliefs. I tend to believe, and I'll say this: when that negative energy attached to me from St. Albans, and I was so tired. I mean, I just didn't want to do anything for like a week, and like I said, my head was burning. I did have some really terrible nightmares and stuff like that, and even worse than I normally have on a regular basis. So, I mean, it is entirely possible for that to happen. And I have had some of our friends that, follow us and stuff tell us the same thing. So it is very possible. I mean, that's part of the realm of things still undiscovered that I would love to find out more about. And I'm glad you asked that, because I'm definitely going to start maybe asking people, further down the road after they do events, if that's the situation. So great question.
I wonder that because I suspect it's because during those events, the physical effects coming out of it feels different than a regular dream.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I agree.
Like trembling and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah. Do you have? Now I'm guessing you've had those before, Christopher. Do you have them a lot, or?
A lot, both positive and negative, both, in between.
Okay.
And sometimes with information.
Oh, okay. So I see. Wow. Has anything ever happened like a deja vu moment for you? Like you've seen something in a dream and then maybe like it's happened the same exact way it happened in the dream, like a couple days later, or?
Quite a few times. And I was talking a couple months ago. I was showing a video of Tess from a news site that matched the place I was dreaming about.
Wow. Yeah. That's a very, very good possibility. We were talking earlier in the show with Tessa about, different realms and stuff, how spirits really, it seems like they don't have any time continuum. And that could very well be the case for dreams. I'm definitely interested in learning more about that. I haven't even really thought too much about that, but now that you bring it up, that's something very interesting to me.
What's even more freaky, the location was not in America.
The location was not in America, so you were dreaming about a completely different location in a completely different country that came up on your video. Wow, that is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, I dreamed about 10 years ago, and on and off, and they did an interview with the person who runs the place about 3 months ago on 2020 or some other CBS program. And I even dreamed about how this guy spoke, and it matched American English, and he's not even from over here.
Wow.
Yeah, I was freaking out.
Man.
That's very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Did you have any other questions for Chris?
No, I was just curious about that. It's been on my mind because I had a similar event last night. Thank you for reassuring me I wasn't nuts.
Oh, no. Absolutely not.
Well, thanks so much for calling in. Thank you, Chris.
You have a blessed night.
Talk to you in the after party.
All right, we'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I had something I wanted to bring up, if it's okay, about Canada and mental illness. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just want to mention my neighbor has a degree in asking questions too. No, I'm kidding. He has a degree in environmental science, and he had worked in the field. In fact, he was one of the first cases of Lyme to come out back in the 70s, but nobody could diagnose it then. But anyway, working in the field, like in the swamps that were not protected. In any case, there was a study in Canada at one of their mental illness clinics. They had a schizophrenic ward, and something happened during the summer. I forget what it was exactly, but their canned vegetables were ruined, so they had to buy real fruit and vegetables or something like this. Don't quote me on the actual food that was being, changed, but their diet had changed so dramatically when they were forced to eat natural foods that, and I think it was something in their diet they were neglecting, in the past. And I could find out the exact, what their diet was, but their mental illness symptoms had disappeared. And they didn't hear voices, all of their symptoms were gone. And it was so remarkable, and someone had done a paper on it. Well, powers that be, when they were put back on their regular diet, they squashed the paperwork and hid their findings, and they were not allowed to go back on the diet nor release their information to the public. And I'll find out what the actual diet was, but it was probably more organic than normal, and less sugar and less whatever. But a lot of our symptoms, according to him, are based on diet and can be cured by going in a different route. Have you heard anything about that for Canada, or for anywhere for that matter? Or are you aware of it?
I'm not aware of it, but I'm sure that there's definitely, some type of. I mean, it would not surprise me from the stuff I know that something like that is out there. I mean, there's people that invent stuff all the time that people that are in the big money market like pharmaceuticals don't want people to know about. So absolutely, I think that's a possibility for sure.
It's a shame.
Okay. We have a caller from, it says live, there's no area code. Who are we talking to?
Talking to me. I just wanted to Skype. Matthew, I just wanted to Skype in for some better audio quality for what I'm listening to.
Okay, no worries.
I apologize for doing the sneaky Pete to you. I apologize.
No worries. This person, it says C5. It's not you, Matthew. We have another caller.
Okay.
C5, C520 is what it says. Well, hopefully they'll speak up here in just a minute. But otherwise, I have a question here from Nikki for you, Chris, and she's wondering, has your team also investigated Bigfoot and Sasquatch?
We have not. That's something that we haven't really delved into too much. I do have a lot of friends that are into that and go to a lot of the conventions and stuff, and actually are really hardcore, looking for them. But my team has not. As far as I know. But I'm all about, searching, looking, see what happens. I mean, I'm probably one of the most open-minded people you'll ever meet. So, if they see something and it might be there, hey, I'll believe it. We'll see what happens.
And, when I talk about paranormal, to me, there's a big umbrella of so many things underneath the umbrella of the paranormal. Have you guys had any encounters or investigations that involved perhaps aliens, UFOs, or abductions?
We have not done that either, but I am very much into that. I am very much into the outer realm and the aliens and stuff like that, and I have seen numerous unidentified flying objects. So yeah, definitely. It is my personal opinion that we just have to be so privileged and closed-minded to think that we're the only planet with life on it as big. I mean, I think I was talking to one of my tattoo artists today, and he tattoos a girl that works for Boeing that's building the ship that is trying to figure out how to come back from Mars. Not going to, but come back. And she said that just simplistically, if you're not even talking about fact or fiction, just mathematically, it's literally impossible to think that we're the only species out there as far as, planet with, humans on it. So just mathematically. So it's an interesting thing. So I definitely believe in that. But as far as investigating, no, but we would definitely like to open all possibilities to that. I mean, I'm definitely open to doing some type of event like that for sure.
So what has been your favorite investigation that you've worked on so far?
Let's see. I would have to say, I mean, I had a lot of fun doing my house, but the one we did in Virginia of the lady's house and got all that information from the spiritist and just all that intelligent answers, that was probably my favorite investigation by far. So, I mean, it just there was just so much into it, and just as well as I do, Tessa, you could go to a place that is active, 3 weeks out of the month, and you go on the fourth week and you're there for 8 hours and nothing happens, So, and to be honest, if you go on them as much as we do, to different places, that happens actually a lot more than it doesn't. So, but that's part of enjoying doing what we do, and that's why I explain to customers as well,
So a lot of people, like Nikki, and I think it had to do with the Ted Bundy thing, she heard that there was some construction going on in that home, and there was actually a lot of weird happenings that happened right after that. Have you ever worked on a case where there were spirits or entities kicked up due to rebuilding or refurbishing a home?
Yes. My house is a perfect example. We live on the same property as my in-laws. We got a big piece of land, and we built this house on this property. And like I said, we built it in February. So, absolutely, and we used to stay in their house while this was being built. And we got a little, something here and there, and we've got some photos on the property of Confederate soldiers and stuff. But like when we built the house here, I mean, we have had a lot of stuff happen in our home. And I've even done an investigation of a lady who did some remodeling, and she, as soon as she got done, she redid her kitchen. She said her cupboards were opening up, slamming shut, opening up. So, I mean, it's a very good possibility that stuff like that can really irritate whatever is in the home or on the land, because they're not used to new stuff and they think that they're impeding or, that would just be my thought on it. So, but yeah, as far as my experience, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people out there think that just because they build a new house, it shouldn't be haunted, but it could be the property that you've built the house on, or it could be something that's attached to a piece of your furniture, or something that's attached to you, or perhaps even your kids. Hauntings can happen in so many different instances.
Or your pets.
Right.
Yeah, we don't have any kids. We have fur babies, and I'll tell you what, man. And that kind of brings me back to talking about how easy it is for spirits to contact people that maybe have a disability or something. But we didn't even talk about like pets, because do you have any pets, Tessa? Do you have cats, dogs?
We have 3 dogs and 2 cats. I used to have birds too, but yeah.
Okay, my pets, they like to, and a lot of people's are like this, I'm sure. They like to just freak out and then just stare at something that's not there. They've always said, there's always been sayings that cats can see things that we can't, and there's really no way for us to see what exactly they're seeing, because we can't get into their eyes. But, their brains are a lot smarter than the human brain. So it may be easier for a spirit to attach to an animal than it is, to a human. So I'm very convinced that, spirits can jump from animals very easily. So I don't know if you remember that movie Fallen with Denzel Washington and John Goodman.
Oh.
Have you ever seen that one?
No, I don't think I have. Now I got to put that on my list of things to watch. Fallen is what it's called?
Yeah, I believe it's Fallen, and it's got this black cat, and it's got the song from the Rolling Stones. Time is on my side. Yes, it is. Yes. Yeah. It's a really good movie. It's really good. It's about you'll definitely watch that one. That's one of my favorites. It's got Denzel Washington, John Goodman, the guy that was in Sopranos. What's his name?
Oh, I think I saw the previews for that. Yeah, I definitely want to see that. I'm making a note on my notepad to never be lost, my hand. But it is amazing, like, the different things that animals do pick up on. And I've even had a couple of my dogs attacked. One was my 18-year-old boxer Akita mix. She was actually part pit as well, but she had been attacked just this last year, as well as we have a pit mastiff mix, and my son had actually seen him lifted up to the ceiling of the house and dropped. And it was very, scary to me. I wasn't here at the time, and to him it was very scary as well, but that whatever it was ended up moving on somewhere else. Have you found that people who do pick up on things or have gifts as far as being able to pick up on spirits, hear or see them, are kind of like a beacon and they attract things to their house?
I mean, it's very possible. I know a friend of mine who's a psychic medium. She's very susceptible to, feeling spirits, even more so than like maybe me or you. Just talking to them, and because for a while I was a skeptic of psychic mediums and stuff like that. I'll be honest, and no disrespect to any psychic mediums out there. That's not what I'm saying, but I was a skeptic for a while because there was a couple investigations we did with the wraith chasers and stuff, where you could just honestly tell that some of these girls that would say that they were psychic mediums were just trying to get attention. Nothing they were saying was making sense, and but my point is, yeah, absolutely. I think that and I actually met one that's a good friend of ours that is our psychic medium now, and she's amazing. And I mean, I definitely know that she can see things and hear things that, maybe me or you can't. So yeah, I think they're more susceptible than maybe we are. And just things in general, even like you said, items, just non-audible items that we have in the home, they could attach to, maybe they have some type of connection to it.
Yeah, it's very interesting, how these different hauntings occur and what actually makes them happen. And it's always an adventure trying to find out the answers to that. Do you find having a psychic on your team that they pick up a lot on what your other equipment is picking up on as well?
Well, the downfall of me having my psychic medium, she lives in Virginia, so it's hard for her to be at the places. But she actually, if I tell her like what's going on or the situation, if I don't know what's going on or something, I could literally tell her what I'm feeling or what's going on, and she can explain to me what it is. That's how strong of a feeling she has. So it definitely does help me out. And it kind of goes back to Ron's answer earlier about have her credentials. The credentials we have are the people that we keep close to us and that help us. And, she is a very big asset to us, when we have something that maybe we can't explain. So absolutely, it does help.
So when you guys do an investigation for people's homes, is there certain things that you do to be able to help them clear out the home or to cohabitate the house with a spirit?
There are certain things that we do. Some things that me and Mel do that we can do that are, or we, if they feel more comfortable, they can do as well, is, we have them, sage their house. Some religions don't believe in sage. We, are very strong believers in it. It does work. But the mistake a lot of people make is, they light their sage and they just go around their house. What you have to do is you have to open up all the windows in your house. Every window you have in your house, open it up and then sage your house. That way it pushes them out of your house. You could sage it all you want, and it's just going to push them in a corner or something like that. It's my belief that once, open, and what I've been taught, that when you open up your windows and you sage, it sends the, spirits gone. So we do that. You can use holy water. There's all different kinds of things you can do. It just depends on, it's a case by case basis, just how strong the entity is, what they're doing, if it's something that we can't handle, because we can't handle everything, it may involve, bringing a priest in or bringing, an exorcist in. It just depends. It just depends on how strong the entity is.
Yeah, every case varies, and I think it's pretty cool that you guys use sage all the way over there in Tennessee. We use it here in the Four Corners, as we are surrounded by several different tribes, and it works for a lot of spirits around here. But like you said, not one thing will work for everything. Have you guys ever used Palo Santo? I like to sage and then follow up with Palo Santo, and I find that if I begin to have anxiety or anxious feelings in my house, I don't even have to light it, just smell it, and it really actually calms me down. Have you guys ever got to work with Palo Santo or Holywood?
No, we haven't. I'm actually interested in learning more about that, though. Now I'll write that down right now as you tell me that, and I'm going to look into that as well for sure. See, guys, this is a perfect example. Two paranormal investigators that love doing it, that are literally learning things from each other. This is the cool thing about what we do. We're just sitting here talking about what we love doing, and I didn't even know about this kind of stuff. So you learn something new all the time. It's great. So absolutely, we definitely do that. Sage is not. It's funny you said that, because sage is not something that they use in this area. Like you said before, it is the Bible Belt. Which kind of makes it difficult for us to get certain locations here too, because people don't believe in that around here, and they think that that it's bad, and it's hard for us to get locations. That's why a lot of our stuff is in different states. So,
well, yeah, and it's awesome that you guys persevere and you continue to do what you do, and don't let the Bible Belt beat you down. Because there are so many people out there that do need that sort of help, and there's not a lot of help out there for that. And we do the same as you. Like when we do cleansings or help people with their own personal homes, we don't charge. We sell cleansing kits to make money for our group, but otherwise what we do is basically volunteering to help people, and there's such a need for that out there.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. There most definitely is.
So Nikki was wondering... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
It looks like someone keeps trying to call in and then gets dropped. It keeps saying +3, +2, +3, +2, unless my phone's just acting up.
Oh, that's so weird. I'm not seeing that. I'm looking at a different screen, though. Okay, so Nikki was wondering, does your psychic medium do astral work?
Astral work? Actually, not sure. That's a great question. I will definitely ask her. If you wouldn't mind telling Nikki to hit me up on the Dark Hunters Paranormal page, and I could get back to her on that, or somehow, or I can message you and you can get back to her, something like that. I'd love to give her that information.
Go ahead and do what Chris said, and hit him up there, and I'm sure she'll let you know what exactly she does, because there are a lot of teams that have psychics or people who do astral travel or astral work, and it's actually quite effective. And it's funny just the different things that you learn in this arena. I hadn't heard of astral projection before I learned about SOR, and there's so many different things that we cover here, so it's just amazing what you can learn from different people.
Yeah, most definitely.
Have you ever had any experience with astral? Like, I've accidentally left my body a couple times. Have you ever had a sleep paralysis or out-of-body experience?
When I was younger, I could do it all the time. Like, I could sit there in the chair and like, I could make myself forget who I was and not remember, like literally almost like I had like dementia, and I would be out of my body. Like, I would be looking around and trying to figure out who everybody was, and I would forget for like 2 minutes, and then it would take me a second. Actually, I have not tried to do it recently. I think probably the last time I did it was when I was in my teens. It's something that for me, it really scares me, because it's a feeling of you're never going to remember who you are in that moment. It's really scary, but, and I'm not sure if I'm describing what you're saying, but that's just kind of like my experience with it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah. the last time it happened to me, I had just drifted off to sleep, and to me it was like I fell on all fours off of the couch, and I was trying to crawl, but I couldn't. I was reminding myself of like a really drunk baby. Like I could not crawl. I kept falling over side to side. And then I turned around and looked, and my body was on the couch. So for a second, I thought that I had died. So I hurried as quickly as I could, being staggering all over the place, crawling to try to get back to myself, to try to get back into my body in case I had just had a heart attack or something and just died. So I crawled back in and woke up, and it really scared the crap out of me. But it was pretty interesting that it just happened. So it's pretty quite unexplainable to me. I don't want to astral travel. That's one of the things that really freaks me out, because there's been things that for so long have been trying to get into my body. So I'm afraid if I leave my body, something else is going to jump in. So I prefer just to stay here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I understand that totally. It does creep me out too, but I have had sleep paralysis before and stuff too, and yeah, it is creepy.
So we have a caller from area code 425. Who are we talking to?
You're talking to Robin?
Hey, Robin, welcome back. What's up?
So, Chris, have you heard of ghosts giving, while people are sleeping, giving them other dreams while they're trying to kill them?
While they're trying to kill them?
Yeah.
I've not heard of that. We did discuss with Chris earlier, Christopher, who called in, who said, he was having his dreams kind of manipulated by spirits. It was his thoughts. And, that's something I told him I was definitely going to look into. As far as spirits manipulating their dreams while they kill them, I've never heard of that. I've actually never experienced it. But I mean, that's really scary, actually.
Yeah. It's just something that I've heard that's happened before. And people lose a lot of time while that's happening.
Oh, okay. So you're talking like almost like a time lapse or something. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to read up on that and look into that. I've not heard anything about that, so I'll definitely look into that.
Yeah. And that's why that's the reason why I just called in.
Oh, well, thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, Robin. Thanks for calling in.
Hey.
So that reminds me of another question. Has your team, or have you and Melissa had any encounters or had to do any cases dealing with incubus or succubus?
I've not dealt with a case from another person, but I've had issues with it before from myself. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you were able to overcome it?
I'd rather not talk about that specifically, if that's okay. That's pretty personal stuff.
Yeah, no worries. Well, if somebody's dealing with an entity like that, do you have any advice for them how they might get rid of such a thing?
I would definitely go straight to a healer, someone that knows how to, because to me, in my experience, succubus and incubus they can be very dangerous. As much as they want to put pleasure on you, and make you feel like you're wanted, it's a mind game and it can really affect your relationship big time. So I would, if you have one attached to you, you think you have one attached to you, I would definitely try and get help ASAP from a healer or somebody that has experience with that. That's what I had to do. And it did affect, my relationship for a while. So, yeah. For anybody that doesn't know what incubus and succubus is, a succubus is a female entity, sexual entity that basically can attach to you and give you sexual feelings that are basically like you're having sex, but you're not. And then incubus is obviously a male version of that. So, and obviously there's more to that. And I apologize for not going into more detail about mine. That's just a very personal thing. So
yeah, I totally understand. Blackie in the Periscope chat room was wondering, so during your investigation, do you see more stuff or hear more stuff, or is it case by case?
It's definitely case by case. And here's what I like to do when we do investigations with in the public, not private. In the public, and I've been on many different event companies and many TWC and other event companies and stuff, and they all do things differently. They all use different type of equipment. One of my best, and I tell this to people if they ever do an investigation, one of the best things to do and the best pieces of equipment is yourself. Honestly, yourself. You really don't need a digital recorder. You don't need a camera. Yourself. You can go into a room and say, for instance, I have 10 people with me on an investigation. The first thing I do is I tell everybody to shut all their equipment off and just stay quiet. Just stay quiet. You want to know why we do that? The reason we do that is because if you go and meet a stranger, right, and you go to a coffee shop and you like to talk to people, you're a social person. But if you go to a stranger, you're not just going to come up to them and just start asking them random, crazy, stupid questions, and just be like all up in their face. You're gonna ease into it, just like a relationship. You're going to ease into it. Excuse me. So that's why when we go do an investigation, the first thing we do is we just stay quiet. Everybody shuts up. We sit in the room and we listen. We hear. We let our bodies feel. See what happens. And honestly, the most you can get is just by the way you feel. And yeah, I mean, it is a case by case basis on what you see and what you feel or hear, but most of the time, just being quiet and just using your own self is a great way to do it. Excuse me, my throat is getting really sore.
Oh, no worries.
I'm okay.
You're a trooper. Water. You're sitting there on the East Coast, staying up late with us, and sharing all your useful information from what you've learned over the years investigating. And,
oh yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
And I have to agree with you as far as, a lot of us growing up, going out and checking out different haunted houses or cemeteries or whatnot, we never brought anything except for ourselves, and we'd pick up on different stuff, hear different things, or perhaps even see different things. So we are our best used and known tool as far as paranormal investigation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There is no battery device or anything out there that's got more energy than we can produce ourselves.
Yeah, and when you do get an energy that comes in, like a lot of times, one of the things to look for is the hair standing up on your arm, That's just a natural thing that happens to our bodies when we come across something like that. It's just pretty amazing and interesting.
Mm-hmm. And temperature changes. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So being out in Tennessee, have you had any experience with dowsing rods or dowsing in general?
Yes, actually, we just did an investigation at the Robertson County Museum in Springfield, Tennessee. We were there with Doogie and Brandon and our team and R&R Live. And my wife was with our friend Felicia, and they did some dowsing rods. While I was inside, Felicia actually had some dowsing rods, and it actually pulled it out of her hand and broke it in half. Now, this is on Jail Alley. In Jail Alley, I had some really interesting experiences on. I had the spiritist come through, say, kill Chris, kill Chris, kill Chris. And then 4 ladies were coming back to switch up groups, and they stopped and they seen me in this alley, and they thought it was something they were seeing. And I waved at them to let them know it was me. And as soon as I waved at them, the spiritist came through and said, 4 ladies die. So there was a lot of negative energy in that area. But as far as the dowsing rods, my wife really likes to use them, and Felicia was using them, and they are really interesting.
And it seems like they're so easy to use. That was one of my first purchases when I started Four Corners Paranormal Investigations, was a dowsing rod, and it was after I had used them, and it was just insane the amount of energy that you feel when you're using them, as well as the information you can collect, whether it's directions or the rods clicking together for numbers or letters. And it does take some time to use them, but it's amazing when you use that and you do discover certain ghosts or certain things. And I think it's one of my favorite tools besides, gut instinct and common sense when on an investigation. Dowsing rods have been a very interesting tool. That's amazing that her dowsing rod broke. That is crazy.
Yeah, I think she actually has a picture posted on Facebook about it. I'll have to see if I can find it and send it to you.
Yeah, definitely do. I'd love to see that. I'm just like, holy shnikes, because, copper wire is just so conductive, and, you can bend it quite a bit before it actually breaks, and for that energy or that spirit to be able to do that, that's just... My mind is blown.
Yeah, theirs were too. They freaked out, and then as soon as it happened, they were like, "Chris, get over here. We have a spirit for you." And I was like, "I'm on my way."
We need some backup stat.
Yep, and I told everybody to get out of that alley. I would go down there and find out what was going on. So that's what I did.
Well, in your area, and you guys are from Knoxville, Tennessee, correct? Do you guys have any certain cryptids that are known in that area, or other things such as fairies or goblins or anything like that you've heard of from different cases?
No, nobody's really said anything like that. See, like I said before, it's really hard to get that kind of information in our area because it's so religious. So a lot of that stuff, they don't talk about. It's not like you can go out in public and someone's like, it's kind of hush hush. Everybody's, everybody goes to church on Sunday and Wednesday, and it's very conservative here. Excuse me. But yeah, I've never heard of that around these parts. Unfortunately, because I'd be completely down to hear about it though.
Do you guys mainly investigate in Tennessee, or do you guys cover other states as well?
Oh, other states. Yeah. We, like I said, Broadhead Manors in Wisconsin, and that's Labor Day weekend. And then we got Twin Cities, which is just east of Columbus. Then we got Old Hamilton Jail, which is Jasper, Florida. And that's October 5th. And then November 2nd, we got David Childers, Jamie Childers, and Ashley Godwin joining us at the Ashmore Estates in Illinois. And by the way, guys, those are only $45 per ticket. 3 celebrities, $45 ticket, overnight investigation. You can't beat it. got to get your tickets, man. I'm telling you.
Well, especially overnight. So do you guys investigate and then everybody has a place to sleep, or how exactly does that work?
We just call it overnight because it's, we start at 7 and then it goes after midnight, So normally most of our investigations end at 2 or 3 in the morning, and I don't know about you, but I give props to anybody that wants to stay the night at a place, not because it's scary, but just because of the fact that, like I said, I don't know about you, but when I do an investigation, when I am done, I am pooped. I am wore out.
Yeah, we did an investigation in Silverton, and it was at the Grand Imperial, which is a very old hotel, and it was for National Ghost Hunting Day, and of course we had people come in for a few hours and investigate with us, but we were allowed to stay the night there in the theater, and everybody else slept very well, but I did not sleep well at all. I kept hearing footsteps upstairs, and a couple of my team members were touched, and each one on each side of me, and just different random noises, and also the energy in there. It was just impossible for me to sleep, so I was quite giddy the next day on about an hour of sleep. When I don't get sleep, I kind of get the giggles, so it was fun, but it's very hard to sleep on an investigation site, I must say.
Yeah, I've been hit up by and I'm kind of changing the subject here, but let me, if you don't mind, can I ask you a question real quick, Tessa? Shoot it your way for a second. Okay, so something I've realized in our field, and this is just recently because I've been kind of doing our own thing, and then now we're just kind of getting involved with people around the industry, but para-unity, I believe, is a word that's misused by people that overuse it, if you see what I'm saying. I feel like para-unity is used by only if it benefits the person using the word, and I've kind of realized that in the part now. If you go to my page, you'll realize, I share everybody's stuff. It doesn't matter if you have an event and you're doing an event the same night as me or 2 nights before me at the same place I'm doing it 2 nights later, I'm going to share it. We're all in this for a common goal. So that's what para-unity is to me. But I feel like, if for some reason you decide to not do business with somebody because they're shady or something like that, and because you get away cleanly, and for them to bash you, I think that's the complete opposite. But it's usually the people that preach about, para-unity all the time, but don't even really know what it means. What is your thought on that? I was just kind of curious.
I actually haven't really had any sort of backlash or anything from other groups. I have worked with several other groups online, and done boots on the ground for a particular group in an area, or followed up on a case for them. But I have friends who have had some pretty negative encounters with other groups. At first, like you said, it's all flowers and lollipops and everybody's sweet to each other, but then as soon as you're not doing what they want you to do, or doing their dirty work or whatnot, then all of a sudden it's just very negative, and it's amazing to me how other teams can sit there and tear each other down and do all these different things when they're sitting there, like you said, preaching para-unity. I think it can exist, but for a lot of people it doesn't, because of egos and other things like that getting in there.
I think ego is a huge thing. I think that's 100% right. I think that's a big part of it, and I think that and money too. When you start, when somebody comes into this thinking that and I'd like to tell people listening too. We don't. If you're and people get offended by me saying this, but if you're a true paranormal investigator, you don't get in it for the money. I promise you that. The money that we make on these events goes right back into the historical venue. I promise you that. None of us are living lavishly. I mean, unless you're, Zach Baggins or something, and you have a TV show, and that's very rare. People that do this, that do it, are doing it because we enjoy it and we want to learn. And so once you start thinking that the money part of it, and you start getting greedy and charging $200-$400 a ticket to your event because you've been on a TV show once or twice, that's when things start going south. So I just want to let you guys know out there that we are passionate about this. We're passionate about it. We're passionate about you guys being passionate about it, and that's really how I feel about it. So.
And it's so true. I've told people on more than one occasion, you can go broke doing this, because it took me a number of years to buy all of the equipment that I have. And then I finally gained a group through doing the world's largest ghost hunt. And we put our own money in every year as far as we pay dues. And, we sell cleansing kits. Otherwise, we're spending our own money to get to different places and buy certain equipment or different things that we need as far as for cleansing houses or gas and maintenance on vehicles, so on and so forth. You will go broke doing this if you're doing it the right way. Like you're saying with Baggins, and I have a particular name for him, but I will not use it. Unless you have a show and you're, over dramatic and getting your pay that way, it's really, not meant to be a money maker. And you can, like you said, make money doing tours and such, but yeah, for the most part, you're going broke doing this.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, guys, I drive a truck during the week, 50 hours a week. I'm a semi-driver. I run a podcast, that I do for fun. I'm busy all the time, and this stuff I do on the weekends. But every event that we have this year for out, Melissa and I have paid out of our pocket to book the place. It's not, it's come from my trucking job, and like I said, the only reason we have to charge money for the tickets, we would do it for free if it wasn't for putting the money back into the historical venue. And every time we go to a different state, Josh, Jamie, Cindy, everybody, we all share a room. We crash out old school style. Like I said, we're family. People sleep on the floor. We share beds. We're close like that. It's, and there's nothing weird about it. We just, it saves us money. So yeah, absolutely. And we take turns buying food. It's just, so that's why we do it. I just want to, let everybody know that, it isn't about being famous. It isn't about, how many Facebook Lives you can do. This is fun. This is informative. And I'm glad you had me come on the show. Absolutely. But on the same token, we do this because it's passion. It's something to do besides, keep my mind off of trucking for a couple days.
Right. Give the back a break and take down the miles. But we are
the back, the butt.
Yeah. Everything connected. It all seems to go through there. But we are at the end of our time. Can you tell our listeners how to find you and your group, and how they might even find some t-shirts and such?
Absolutely, guys. So go to the Dark Hunters Paranormal Group LLC on Facebook. You can also go to our website, thedarkhuntersparanormal.com. That's thedarkhuntersparanormal.com. You can find our t-shirts on there. You can find all of our events on there. And just go like our page. Go like the Living Proof Paranormal. That's Josh and Jamie's page. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And, thanks for all the listeners tonight, too. I appreciate all the questions. You guys are great.
Thank you so much, Chris, again, for being my guest tonight. I had a wonderful time, and I hope to have you and perhaps Melissa or some other members of your team back in the future.
Most definitely. Absolutely. I know they would love to be on anytime, and more than welcome. We'd love to be on.
Awesome. Thank you so much again.
All right. Take care.
And thank you to everyone on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio, Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, Periscope, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, and wherever else you may be listening in the universe tonight. I had a wonderful time this evening, literally and figuratively, and I can't wait to do it again tomorrow night, where we have City of London Paranormal. So we're going to hear from a group across the pond from us, and I can't wait to hear that. I'm always intrigued about different stories, and especially different areas of the world. You guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I hope to see you guys back here tomorrow night. And don't forget, we're all in this together. Together we can make the world a little better. And together, my friends, we own the night. If you guys would like to join us for the after party, feel free to call 1-970-335-9596, or you can look me up if you have any issues under Tessa Thomas-Peterson. Hope to see you guys there, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow night. You guys take care of my ewes. Nighty night, love and light.